Greetings, Ani, Bojo, Kwekwe, Tansi, Scano. It's Catherine and Brian at Moonstarlodge in South Central Ontario, bringing our lovely friends and followers a reading for the week of the 20th to the 26th of May. Nearly the end of May. That's scary stuff. Anyway, that being said, welcome to those who are new and welcome back to those who have been following us. So we have a full moon in this week, and it's storyteller, and it can come with some ambivalence because the only way we move forward in our own story that we tell is to get out of the story we tell and let it get out of the past into a becoming and into a manifesting. The more you repeat a story, the more it gets anchored in your aura, you're being weighed down by something that no longer exists. So we're all being challenged to change our stories as it reflects this walk around the medicine wheel. And I'm using the same decks as that last week. I so loved using the florals and botanicals and the fairies and the dragons and all of those cards. So we're doing it all over again. You can see the decks, by the way. There's a picture always posted where I post on the socials that the readings are out. And the decks are there. So Brian always includes the names of the decks in the description anyway. So let's go to the cards, Brian. And just for those who are becoming Brian Dowsing groupies, he will be called into action on camera there today. We start with the Page of Cups. This beautiful, artistic, loving being who is so gifted in pursuing those things which they love and which nurture them emotionally, and exploring and expanding. This is clarified by the Wheel of Fortune. Now that showed up in our reading last week too. Pages are very young and can be emotionally immature at times, going down the proverbial squirrel hole or the rabbit hole, so to speak. So the Wheel of Fortune is advising the ancestors. This card is always the ancestors card. It's advising that the page stay in the center of the wheel, for in the center of the wheel we are at peace. Just as I mentioned last week, the whirling dervish is the center of that circle. They're in motion, but they're meditating. Be the hub and observe. So there needs to be a little bit of meditative thought going into the excitement and exuberance that we all need. We get pretty deadened as we age sometimes. So this is a balancing, staying centered and keeping our exuberance. Once again, we have the Queen of Pentacles showing up. Different deck, different queen appearance. But this is the bounty. This is the having everything. This is looking after family, home, community, all of the proverbial kingdom. And she's clarified by the same card we had last week, the dog, unconditional love. We are never alone in doing this. The queen is never alone. The queen as an archetype has her consort and her court and her followers in her community. So the attributes of the queen, the archetypal elegance of the queen, and knowing that we have both supporters on this earth plane and supporters, especially in the spirit world, who are easily forgotten, out of sight, out of mind. The next card is, however, the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands can be very brutal physical attack. It can be an actual physical earthly fight or confrontation. But in this instance, I asked Brian to douse off camera, was it external, as in fighting with others, or is it an internal battle? Expectations of what we think. We're fighting with ourselves over what we think people will think of us if we do X, fearing judgment, that sort of thing, and being stalled in our move forward. And he doubts that it is the internal or the less common use of this card's meanings. It's clarified by, you create your own reality. What you want wants you too. What do you want to experience? If you want peace, you become peace and let go, and the universe sends you more of what you want. So if you show or suggest to the universe that you like being in turmoil, you'll get more reasons to have turmoil. And it's not a vindictive thing. It's just a mirroring back. What the energy we send out is what we get back. So hold that in space and ask yourself, is what I'm arguing with myself about really real? Is it true? Is it my expectations of others? And it may not be that way at all. We need to walk our journey without worrying about other people. We're here to experience our own lives. We stay out of other people's business, and they will eventually learn, if we don't, react, that they must stay out of our business. This is our life to live. So we've got this beautiful energy here. We've got the maturity and the meditative support. We've got the plenty. We've got spiritual supports. We've got the universe saying, remember what you're sending out, you're getting back. So we get the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is always about thinking of the past, and that's an important card to link here with the page, because when we look back at our childhood and the good times, we tend to see them through rose-colored lenses. But it's a remembering what used to light our fire, what made us happy, what did we want to do? Have we let those things go? Quite often it's gifts like art or music or dance or what have you. But the peace that we have in childhood at times, for many of us, not all of us, but the wonder and the joy is something that we need to pull back into the present. This card of the Six of Cups is clarified by the sovereignty or the King of Air. So that's our mental acumen, the swords, typically the swords, it's spades if you're using a regular playing deck, but it's air. And so if we bring some mental acuity to what we're looking at, we will bring ourselves to peace. We'll find a balance between strictly intellectual and strictly emotional issues to find what's needed for this week's journey. Then we get to the Six of Pentacles. So we've got a couple of sixes here. Interesting. So the Six of Pentacles is about balance in giving, balance in receiving. If we give too much, we get depleted. If we receive too much, it weighs us down. There has to always be reciprocity to maintain balance. And it's followed, or clarified, sorry, not followed, it's clarified by the Innovator, which is it's the Hoosier Beauty Rose. It's a modern garden rose. So the Innovator says it's being co-creative. So the exchange here is possibly ideas and not money. It's money shown in the Pentacles card. But we can be exchanging and working collectively or cooperatively, spiritually, intellectually, and its king suggests this to me, in order to advance things forward in our lives. The card that follows is justice. Justice is being meted out about something. We all have to look at what that is. But it's interesting because it's clarified by the sovereign. And this is gentle power. So if we are put in a position to be wielding the sword of justice and to look at how we're perceiving what is just, our power has to come from a place of gentility and maturity. So it can't be an off-the-cuff kind of reactive knee-jerk thing. It must be from a place of power, gentle power, sovereignty. And I hearken back to this card here with the unconditional love from Spirit and other sources. Spirit working through other people can be the same unconditional love. We have to place unconditional love and mercy into the thoughts of how we mete out justice and expect that that will be the same if justice is being meted out on us. What we give, we can expect to receive. Here we go with the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles, we had the balance, the learning, the scholarliness that showed up at the beginning of last week's reading. There's learning here and scholarliness to a degree. But this is working with others, building towards something. It's success and it's wisdom. And it's clarified by the elemental entities, by the star. The star in tarot is hopes and dreams and increasing health. This is about guidance. Sailors use stars for guidance. Farmers use stars and moon cycles for planting, knowing when to move. This is a guidance situation here. So look to the heavens. Stars in indigenous culture are ancestors, so our ancestors can also provide us with the kind of guidance to continue our wisdom walk when we work with others. The last two cards, I pulled two more cards, I don't usually, but I look for some guidance. What we are creating here has to have a timeline in the main for most people. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But here we have the card Gratitude, and it represents Capricorn. And it's the constellation, it is a constellation and a galaxy here. So we've got the Gratitude card in Capricorn, and Capricorn is typically January. So before I ask Brian to douse if we're talking about January 2025 or some other timeline, the card that goes with it from the Moon deck is the Self. What we're asking here is, what do we need to manifest the absolute best for ourselves? Of course, we take on the attribute of gratitude to manifest the very best we can be. So, Brian, if you could kindly just douse if this is 2025 for most of us, or 2026.
26.
Thank you kindly. He can hear your applause through the wires. So we are manifesting great things, and this reading, and I believe last week's reading, literally take us through more than a year. It's a year and a half. So these 2 weeks lay the groundwork for something quite incredible. Obviously, it's more than one turn of the medicine wheel or 13 moons. It's more like 18 or 20 moons. So it's a dilly. You can turn the camera, Brian. I think this is an amazing reading. It speaks to me of the humanness of what it's like to fight with others and ourselves and fall back on old patterns that don't serve us. Last week was such an amazing reading as it applied to a person alone going about on an amazing future journey. And this is about what happens when we let old tapes and loops and old ways of behaving creep in and make us start second guessing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you really understand and own how much our ancestors, guides, teachers, angels, archangels, and all the spirits of the highest and best intention love to work with us. We just have to engage them. We have to ask for them and give them permission to work with us. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this reading. The decks used will be in the picture that accompanies this video release. Enjoy the full moon, do your ceremonies and rituals, make Turtle Mother happy and Storyteller happy. Get rid of the stories that don't serve you anymore. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, send me a coffee. We're still having a bit of difficulty here in the old health department, and I'm still struggling, but it's okay. It will be fine. Anyway, miigwech, nyawan, aho, peace.